All right, so here we are inside of ON1 Photo RAW with our image of the product. And I will admit, I don't do a lot of this on the channel. So if that is something you're interested in, let me know in the description, and not in the description box. Let me know in the comment section below what you would like to see, or if you think this type of tutorial is pretty good. But let's go ahead and make our edits. So what I'm seeing here is the background has a lot of pretty good texture, and I'm not mad at this. It's matching very similar to the actual product itself. So it's a monochromatic scheme, and that's what I want to play on here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I don't think Brilliance AI is going to do me any favors, but I'm going to activate it just to see what Brilliance AI thinks would make sense for this particular image. And I fear I'm going to have to do this myself, which isn't that big of an issue, but I do want to see what Brilliance AI will do. And actually, it didn't do a bad job. It kind of took away that monochromatic scheme. It's starting to add in a little bit more of the warmer tones. So I think what I need to do is cool it back down, because greens are a little bit cooler. And then I'll pull up on the vibrance just to bring in some colors and even the saturation. That's going to help with bringing those colors back into the image. Overall, I think the contrast is pretty good, but I'm going to push it up just a little bit more than where it was. And I'm also going to brighten the image overall, because I think it is a little dark just from looking at it. Now, for like publishing product photography, I do recommend that you use your histogram, but for what I'm doing today, it's just stylistic, and I'm just going to do everything by eye. All right. Because this is a product, I think pushing up on the structure just a little bit to give it a little bit more edge around the overall image is perfect. So now it's time to start looking for those distractions. And I see one that's right here. And as I zoom in, it's even more. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time just trying to clean up all of the distractions. So what I'm going to do is clean up a few, and then we're going to move on. So don't hold me accountable if you see something and you're like, whoa, why didn't you get rid of that? It was purely because I don't want this to be a video all about me getting rid of distractions. Now, what I'm using is the Perfect Eraser. This is a tool that's been inside of ON1 for at least as long as I've been using it, and it works great for getting rid of these little scratches. You could use the healing tool. There are just so many ways that you can use the exact same things or different tools to get the same result. For me, I think that the Perfect Eraser is the perfect tool for this particular job, which is why I'm using it. Otherwise, I would have grabbed a different tool. So I'll get rid of that, and I'll see if there's any larger ones besides this one over here. And once that gets rid of it, I'm going to hold down my spacebar key, move around, and I see that there's an issue right there on that G, but I'm not going to worry about trying to clean that up. All right. I'm not going to worry about that, but I will get rid of some of these other issues. And this is like super nitpicky. I'm zoomed in right now at 100%. No one is viewing the image at 100%. And that's something you have to keep in mind whenever you start doing pixel peeping jobs like what I'm doing right now. But if you are working in products, and for the clients that I have had, I always make sure that the product is as pristine as I can get it. One, before I photograph, but also while I'm editing, getting rid of those smaller imperfections that I just missed with my microfiber cloth or whatever I was using to clean off the product. That is just, good business. But for an editing tutorial, I'm not overly concerned about that, other than telling you should look for those things in your image. So I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna hit Command and 0 to zoom out, and I think we're good to go with cleaning up the product. So with my product photography, I don't do a whole lot of extra editing, because I do a majority of the look right in camera. because the goal for me is not to spend a lot of time editing the products, unless of course I'm doing something that's more lifestyle, but something like this, which would just be used as an advertisement or a background in a flyer maybe, or maybe in a brochure talking about combining these two. I don't know, right? These photos work pretty well for that, but this area over here is pretty dark. And so I do want to open the shadows up on that. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to grab my, well, I guess I need to be in local adjustments. I was on the wrong tab. That's why I was like, wait, where's my tools at? All right. I'm gonna grab a local adjustment, hit the W key so I get my quick mask selection brush. You'll see me using this tool a lot, and ever since ON1 improved it, I know that it came out in 2024, I believe, but they've improved upon it every single iteration. And now, where I wasn't using AI tools to really mask my subjects or anything, I use this tool as my first go-to effort, and then I'll tailor it or add in other tools later. So you can see how well it just selects this area, and I just got to hover over, and now I have this entire bottle selected, which is exactly what I want. I want to paint my effect in because I just want to open up the shadows on this bottle. So we'll go ahead and hit the blue check mark so ON1 can render that subject mask. And then what I'm going to do is open up my shadows. And you can see how that's just making this pop a little bit better off of that background. And I can increase the exposure as well. Got to be careful with that though, because when I increase the exposure, you can see that I'm starting to change the colors here. And I don't want to change the colors in my image overall. So what I'm going to try to do, instead of leaving this on a normal blend mode, is I'm going to click on the 3-layer menu here, and I'm going to click on blending. And over here, we can actually change the blend mode of our local adjustment. And the blend mode that I think will work best is luminosity, except for that's still changing the color because of the saturation. And I don't want to work with the color overall. So let's try one of these other blend modes. And if this doesn't work, then I have a different plan of action. And that's what photo editing really is all about. Figuring out what works best for what it is you're trying to accomplish. So I'm going to go with luminosity just for now. And I'm going to pull down on the shadows. And I'm also going to bring back our exposure because I did increase that pretty high. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pull down on the temperature because making it a little bit cooler, you see how that's starting to bring back that original color. So if I come back up here and turn this off and then turn it back on, it's brighter, but it's also cooler. I actually need these bottles to match pretty close to one another. So what I'm going to do is leave these adjustments just as they are, and I'm going to add in this bottle. Now, the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to click on this mask over here, and we will hit the W key, and I'm just going to select the bottle again, because as long as we keep the adjustments the same, we can just add more to the mask, right? That's my thought. So we'll go with that. And then I'll come over to this bottle and select it. And I think we're good to go. And then we're going to paint in. And so now this is just going to update the mask with both of those bottles painted in. And you can see I now have my bottles looking pretty close to one another. And that's what's more important for me. Now, the other thing that I want to do here is kind of make this brighter portion of the background match with what's going on over here. And so what I'm going to do is come back over to local, and I'm going to hit the letter M on my keyboard to get the masking bug. And I'm just going to change the shape over to gradient, and we'll go I want to protect the right side, so we'll go linear right, click there, and that's now adding in the exposure or negative exposure to this part of the image. Now, it's probably a little too dark, and I need this highlight to make it look like the light is, like it needs to match the direction of the light, which is from camera left. That's where the light was coming from. And that's what we're looking at here. So I think something like this actually works pretty well, but you can see this kind of tucks in and you got a darker shadow there. So maybe I'll bring it in just a little bit further just to kind of make a vignette, if you will, around the products and make the background darker than what the products are. So I can do that. And we'll try one more thing, and I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but we're going to try it anyway. I'm going to hit copy mask, and we'll add in an additional mask here. So I'm just going to paste in the mask of the bottles, but this time I'm going to invert it, and that's going to give me like a blanket look over the entire background. And I'm not sure I really want that. And this is where, you got to kind of stylize your image the way that you want it to be. So maybe just pull that exposure back. And this actually doesn't look that bad. I can live with this. Maybe pull down the opacity of the layer to kind of blend it in a little bit better. And that could be my monochromatic scheme overall. All right. So let's take a look at the before. Kind of flat, still monochromatic, could be good, could be bad. It's kind of meh. And then we do this, and this is something that I think works pretty well, but I am seeing that it's just a little too strong on that negative exposure for the background. So we'll just pull the opacity down on that even further, turning it off and turning it on. You can see it's very subtle, but it does help with overall the storytelling of these two bottles. And maybe the bottles are also a little too bright. So I'll just pull down on the opacity, and then that'll fade those in that much more. The last thing that I'll do is throw some dynamic contrast over these bottles. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that mask again, come into effects, and throw on the dynamic contrast. And I'm going to open up this mask, right click, paste. And now I'm applying that contrast only to the bottles. So if I turn it off and turn it on, you can see how it's just kind of making those bottles stand out a little bit. And I don't need, like, this is beauty care, if you will. So it doesn't need to be overly punchy. It needs to be clear and it needs to be sharp, but not overly punchy. So I don't need it like crazy, edgy, contrasted, but hopefully what I'm showing makes sense. So here is then let me get rid of this. So here is the before without any adjustments added into the image using ON1. And here's the edited version that I think is doing pretty well. And I could deliver this to a client if necessary. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you want to learn more about using ON1 Photo RAW, consider signing up for a training call with me. A link for that is found in the description box below. If you want to pick up something over at the ON1 website, right now, in the month of June of 2025, they're celebrating 20 years. So there's going to be a lot of things that are on sale. If you want to pick up something over on the website, consider using my affiliate link down in the description box below. I make a small commission, but that's at no extra charge to you whenever you use that link. And then, of course, if you want to continue learning right here on YouTube, check out the video that's on screen now. Until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.